Hey everyone, welcome back to Clip Your English. I'm Jake.
And I'm Rachel. This is episode 6 of Learn English with Movies.
Today we're talking about how to build vocabulary using movies and actually use those words in real conversations.
If you watch movies but forget new words the next day, this episode's for you. Plus, we'll recommend a great movie at the end. All right, Jake, let's be honest here. I used to watch English movies with subtitles and think, oh, I'm learning so much.
Let me guess. You'd see a cool word, think, I'll remember that, and then completely forget it the next day.
Exactly. It was so frustrating. Like, I'd hear someone say, that's hilarious in a movie, and I think, oh, that's a nice way to say funny.
Right, instead of just saying that's funny all the time?
But then when I was actually talking to someone, my brain would just go blank. I default back to funny every single time.
I totally get that. It's like your brain has two separate folders, one for words I understand and another for words I actually use.
Yes. So what changed for you? How did you start actually using the vocabulary you learned from movies?
Well, the game changer was when I started collecting words properly, not just, hoping I'd remember them.
Okay, so how do you collect words? Do you pause the movie every 5 minutes?
No way. That would ruin the experience. Here's what I do. I watch the movie normally first. Just enjoy it.
Smart. Don't interrupt the flow.
Exactly. Then, if I really like the movie, I'll watch it again. But this time, I keep my phone nearby.
Ooh, for taking notes?
Yeah, but not just any notes. When I hear a word or phrase that sounds useful, I quickly write it down with the context.
What do you mean by context?
Like, let's say a character says, I'm swamped with work. I won't just write swamped equals busy. I'll write the whole sentence. I'm swamped with work.
Ah, because you learn how to use it, not just what it means.
Exactly. And then I add who said it and in what situation. Like, character was stressed, talking to their friend about being too busy.
That's brilliant. So you're not just collecting words, you're collecting phrases and situations.
Right? Because in real life, we don't just use isolated words. We use phrases and expressions.
So after collecting these phrases, how do you actually remember to use them?
This is where most people mess up. They collect words, but never review them.
Guilty as charged. I have notebooks full of vocabulary that I've never looked at again.
We've all been there. But here's the thing. Reviewing doesn't have to be boring.
Oh, tell me more. Because flashcards make me want to take a nap.
Okay, so instead of traditional flashcards, I do something called situation practice.
What's that?
I imagine situations where I could use these new phrases. Like, if I learned I'm swamped with work, I'll practice saying it out loud.
You talk to yourself?
All the time. I'll be like, hey, how's your day going? And then I'll answer, oh man, I'm totally swamped with work. I have 3 deadlines this week.
That's actually not weird at all. You're practicing real conversations.
Exactly. And sometimes I'll record myself on my phone just to hear how it sounds.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Because sometimes you think you're pronouncing something right, but then you hear yourself and you're like, that doesn't sound quite right.
For sure. Plus, recording yourself forces you to speak clearly and with confidence.
What about using these phrases with real people? That's where I always freeze up.
Oh, I have a trick for that too. I call it phrase goals.
Phrase goals?
Yeah, like, let's say I learned 5 new phrases from a movie this week. I'll set a goal to use at least one of them in a real conversation.
That's smart. It gives you a mission.
Right. And it doesn't have to be forced. Like if I learned, I'm not a morning person, I'll just wait for the right moment to use it naturally.
And I bet once you use it successfully once, it becomes easier the second time.
Absolutely. It's like the phrase moves from your passive vocabulary to your active vocabulary.
I love that way of thinking about it. So we have passive vocabulary, words we understand but don't use.
And active vocabulary, words we actually use in conversation. The goal is to move words from passive to active.
And movies are perfect for this because you see words in action, not just in a dictionary.
Exactly. You see the emotion, the body language, the situation, everything.
Plus, you get to hear the pronunciation and intonation. That's huge.
Oh, speaking of intonation, that's another thing I collect from movies.
What do you mean?
Like the way people say things. Not just the words, but the tone and rhythm.
Can you give an example?
Sure. There's a difference between saying, "That's interesting," with genuine curiosity, versus saying it sarcastically.
Right. In movies, you can see the character's face and understand which way they mean it.
Exactly. And that's something you can't learn from a textbook.
So true. Movies give you the full package: vocabulary, pronunciation, intonation, body language, and cultural context.
Which brings us to choosing the right movies. Not all movies are great for vocabulary building.
What makes a movie good for learning vocabulary?
Well, first, it should have lots of dialogue. Action movies with explosions every 5 minutes, probably not the best choice.
Unless you want to learn how to say "look out" in 15 different ways.
Right. You want movies with realistic conversations, people talking about everyday situations.
What about the level? Should you watch movies that are challenging or easy?
That's a great question. I think slightly challenging is perfect. If you understand about 70–80%, that's the sweet spot.
Because if it's too easy, you won't learn anything new. But if it's too hard, you'll just feel frustrated.
Exactly. You want to be challenged, but not overwhelmed.
And genre matters too, right? Like, if you want to learn business English, you probably shouldn't watch a romantic comedy.
Well, unless it's about business people falling in love. But yeah, choose movies that match your interests and goals.
Speaking of which, we promised to recommend a movie. What are you thinking?
The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. It's got workplace conversations, romantic dialogue, family interactions, lots of variety.
Great choice. The language is modern and natural. Plus, it's funny, so you'll want to watch it multiple times.
Exactly. Sandra Bullock uses some great expressions you can steal for your own conversations. And Ryan Reynolds' sarcastic comments are perfect for learning humor in English.
Just remember, make sure you understand the context before using sarcasm yourself. All right, let's wrap up. Remember, collect vocabulary with context, practice using new phrases out loud, and set phrase goals.
This week, try The Proposal. It's entertaining and packed with useful vocabulary.
If this helped, like, share, and subscribe for more English conversations every week.
Drop a comment. What's your favorite movie for learning English? Thanks for listening to Clip Your English.